A sequel to Ridley Scott's 2000 Gladiator movie, Gladiator II, is out in theaters this weekend, starring Paul Mescal and Denzel Washington. I'm going to let you know what I thought about this film in my non-spoiler review next. Hey everyone, it's the Outlaw John Rocha. How you doing? Thanks so much for clicking play on this non-spoiler review for Gladiator II, a film that I was able to see last week, and I got some thoughts on this one for sure. But first, I want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button if you like all the stuff we're doing here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And if you want to support us on the Patreon, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/John Rocha as well. All right, this film stars Paul Mescal as Lucius, the son that Maximus, Russell Crowe's Maximus, had with Connie Nielsen's Lucilla in the first movie. We find out that he was sent out into the wilderness when he was a young child for his own safety, and he was sent out to another country, and he essentially, as he grew up, shed his Roman identity, adopted the citizenship and identity of his new country, and unfortunately they get into a battle with the Romans and they are defeated. He essentially becomes a prisoner of war, and he is led through the gladiator tract here by Denzel Washington's Macrinus, who sees something in him and promises him his shot at the general, who is Pedro Pascal's Marcus, and the two emperors here, played by Fred Heckinger and Joseph Quinn, to essentially get his shot to wreak his vengeance on Rome for what happened to him. And of course, he ends up finding out, that his mom is there and reuniting with his mom and all that drama and what have you. So it all leads to an incredibly thrilling, action-packed finale for sure. But is the film good? Yes, I would say that it's good. It's certainly a very enjoyable film. It's a lot of fun to watch this movie. This feels like it should have come out in the summer because it has a much more summer action popcorn film type of energy to it, rather than the much more serious and staid energy of 2000's Gladiator. This is a much less serious film, although some of the tones and some of the messages of it are very serious, in that fighting for your rights, fighting for your freedom, fighting against corruption from people who are in charge of an empire or in charge of your country eventually. Those things are really strong messages throughout the whole movie, but they get kind of lost because the script itself isn't as strong as it needs to be. It's not as weighty as it needs to be in order to match the things that they are confronting in this movie. So it's an interesting film to watch, and I love 2000's Gladiator. So I can't help but compare the two because, in my personal opinion, why do you do a sequel if you're not going to be able to bring the same kind of, or you don't have the intention to bring the same kind of seriousness and weight and, dare I say it, gravitas to a sequel? So this is a perfectly fun, enjoyable, good action movie here set in Rome. Paul Mescal does a great job as Lucius. I'm used to seeing him in more independent stuff, a little more wiry physically, but he is a beast in this movie. He is ferocious in this film. He is chopping the words as they come out of his mouth. And when he explodes in certain emotional moments, you really are like almost shot back into your seat because of the power and aggression with which he can deliver his lines. So I liked him throughout the movie. He's not 2000, he's not Russell Crowe, but it's a different film. He's asked to do different things. I've seen some people compare him in deficit to Russell Crowe, and I just want to say, I think he's fantastic in the movie for what the movie is. He delivers a great job. He makes you care about his character, and he takes you through the journey. The problem with the movie is that there's not enough given to him in order to really play these deeper levels and to deliver a more complex portrayal as Russell Crowe got to do in the first movie, and that's unfortunate in my personal opinion. Denzel Washington is a standout in the film here as Macrinus. I think he's hilarious. He's basically doing a mixture of hilarious and threatening. He's doing a mixture basically of his American gangster and his character in Training Days. He's in the film enough. I just wish he was in the film more, and I just wish they gave him more depth, more complexity to his character. It's very clear that this is a guy who's going in one direction, and there's not a lot of vulnerability or a lot of questioning. There's not a lot of worry, so you don't get that. He's very clear about where he's going and what he's doing here. Connie Nielsen back as Lucilla. I think she's fun to see back in the movie. I love Connie Nielsen. Always brings that strength and power to her roles and to her delivery. And she's very believable throughout the whole movie, and her interactions with Lucius when they get reunited. There is some really strong moments for her throughout the film. And Pedro Pascal, I think, does a good job here as Marcus. Although I think at times he doesn't quite fit in the movie in certain scenes, and I wonder if you guys will catch it or pick it out, or maybe it won't bother you. But for me, I sensed a little bit like, or he's playing the general rather than being the general. And so there are certain moments. But again, I think the writing kind of undercuts his character, doesn't give his character a lot. We're already way advanced in his character story, and we find out the reasons for the things that he's doing, but we don't live through the things that he experienced in order to buy into the reasons for why he's doing the things that he's doing. So I felt Pedro at times, at certain moments, real quick, was in and out of the character. But overall, I thought he did a fantastic job. The big thing with Joseph Quinn and Fred Heckinger is they don't get enough to do. It's very one-dimensional. It's very surface. That was really disappointing because I like both of those actors separately. I think they're fantastic in the separate things that they've done. But in the movie, they really come off as infantile, emotional, and just kind of one-dimensional. And you're not really afraid of them. You don't really know. You don't really feel like, wow, these people could have really ascended to Rome. There's no wiliness, no cunning, no cleverness to them. They would have to have some element of that in order to be there. And yes, you have to kind of compare it to Joaquin Phoenix and his performance, which was incredible in the first Gladiator movie. So they really are in deficit. And again, I go back to the writing. There's not a lot there for them to play, unfortunately. I do think it's a lot of fun to see Derek Jacobi back, who I love to see him doing it. And for those of you who are big Blackadder fans, Tim McInerney has a great role here as Thrax. And the things that he's doing. So I do like the performances overall. The action sequences are great. Everything inside the Colosseum is so damn insane. There are a couple of CG stuff, like the baboons are ridiculous and the sharks are a little like, but overall, the way that's directed, it's pulsating, it's fun, it's interesting, it's crazy, it's bloody, it's nuts. So you're so invested in what's going on there. And the direction here, I mean, Ridley does a really good job with the direction. He brings Rome back to life for us, his version of Rome and everything that's going on here. There are quiet moments, there are big loud moments, there are moments to really appreciate the cinematography in the film and the look of Rome. And there are some really nice moments that he directs using the camera in certain locations. In these more intimate moments, really brings them to life and makes you feel like you're in the room with them, experiencing this from a bird's eye view. So I think that was really well done from Ridley. But I think at the end of the day, my big complaint with the movie is David Scarpa's script. He does not do enough to flesh out these characters, give these characters really poignant and interesting and vulnerable scenes, because that's what made 2000's Gladiator so good, is getting those scenes with these actors and these characters and finding out their motivations and finding out what's going on with them and seeing the complexity of them. There's not a lot of that in here. And I think the actors are left to kind of imbue those lines with that stuff, but there's not a lot in the lines to give you that levels of which their characters are coming from. And I think that's a deficit for the movie overall. Plus, things move way too fast in the script. You're not given a chance to kind of sit and like really kind of grasp everything that's going on and then move on to the next stage or the next beat. You're just moved from one beat to the next, to the next, to the next. And maybe and I think that's fun for an action film, but I was hoping to see something on the level of Gladiator, which took its time to lay the groundwork of everything that was happening, lay the groundwork with the characters and the relationships, lay the groundwork of the scope of the story. And I don't feel like we got that. But I will say, I thought the film was a lot of fun to watch. I do give it 3.5 cowboy hats out of 5 cowboy hats. I think this is a fantastic one to enjoy for a summer type action movie, but I wanted so much more of the weight of it all so that when the finale happens, I am so caught up in where we're going with it afterwards. And I didn't feel that in this one when I felt it in 2000's Gladiator. So, well, if you get a chance to go see it, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. Did it work for you? Did it not work for you? What stood out to you? What didn't stand out? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm being crazy? Let me know all of it down in the comment section below. Or maybe, just maybe, you agree with me. Let me know that as well. All right, thanks so much for watching this. Gladiator 2 is out in theaters this weekend. Hit a like on this video, share it on your social media, and I'll talk to you next time with a brand new non-spoiler review here on the Outlaw Nation. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content from the Outlaw Nation.